Hey, my name's Tony Ray. This is Donatelli.
I'm Pappy.
And I'm Sunshine.
And this is Strange Tales.
Strange Tales? And you are listening to Strange Tales from Outer Space. Let's start the show. Yeah!
What? What? What?
I fucked that up really badly. Anyways.
What'd you do?
It's just... OBS is dumb sometimes, alright?
What is happening?
Nothing.
Go?
Do your intro. We'll fix that in post.
We're off to a good start. From outer space. Oh my god. Hey, we have consistency on our side, and that's all that matters.
I was so close to figuring out something good. Anyways, keep
so
going.
Close to Indigo's face that we could go 1 week without. And nah, we are a weekly WildStar podcast. There's a few of us that show up each week. We have a special guest with us this week. I'm going to introduce him first, Bazil.
The Bazil?
The Bazil? Is this the Bazil? That's what his name card says. So,
if you're wondering why Indigo's not in that spot, we would normally have 4 of us. He's taking care of some work-related issues, so we have Baz came on to fill in tonight.
Yes, indeed.
We have with us, as always, Krug.
Hi, I'm Krug, and I'm here as always.
Always. Actually, literally, out of the 3 of us, I think you've always been here.
Yeah. Yep.
Every episode. 53 episodes and counting.
Reliable. Now,
Ouch.
I can't let that change. I have to never miss a show.
Nope.
Because we said that right now.
Yep, and I'm Doc. I'm actually recording from my parents' place, so my webcam looks like crap. But we bring you news. Yep. Almost second floor, but the air conditioning's so nice. I can have air conditioning on in this room and not sweat my ass off like I do with my normal casting area. So it's awesome. But we bring you the news and views and opinions around WildStar Online. And before we start, a little bit of non-WildStar related news that Bazil just put into the Facebook or the Twitch chat. Satoru Iwata from Nintendo had actually just recently passed away.
Oh, that's
literally while we're in the pre-show.
Wow.
That's craziness.
That's crazy news.
He joined Nintendo in 1980, and he worked on games like Balloon Fight, Earthbound, and became the director of the company in 2000. In 2002, he was appointed as the only 4th president of Nintendo. So rest in peace, buddy.
55. So, I mean, it's major gaming news. Iwata opted out of E3 last year. He showed up this year in puppet form and real form. And I know it's not WildStar related. We just wanted to just extend our condolences to anybody from Nintendo or however tiny our little signal goes out. So just wanted to mention that.
I just saw my tag, Krug. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. It's like the tiniest font too. It's like the.
We had to be proper here. So the Bazil, how was your week last week?
Good, I guess. I mean, nothing really important happened. I played video games. I started streaming again. That's going well. Yeah, nothing really interesting. It's been a slow week for gaming, really.
Yeah, past E3, it always kind of slows down for a few weeks. It's really weird.
Everybody's probably still digesting.
Yeah. All that awesome Fallout 4 news and
everybody's probably at Comic-Con.
Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars Boba Fett exclusive. Anyway, actually, that's true. Comic-Con did happen in Krug. How was your week?
My week was amazing. Nothing really Comic-Con related happened to me. I am one piece of gear away from full purple PvP gear.
Nice.
Healing and deeps. So
you did sell half of it off.
Skadoosh. I didn't sell half of it. I may have deleted or destroyed half of it in other creative ways on accident. But anyways, so yeah, that's exciting. I feel very useful in PvP now. I forget how amazing medics are when it comes to PvP, and it just makes me happy. And now we're going to get changed into Oblivion. So, I mean, hopefully that's still the case. It'll be great.
Okay, so to be honest with you, just because you have full purple PvP gear, you still won't be useful.
I don't actually ever think that we've been in a PvP game together, Baz, ever.
Well, actually, we dueled a couple times, and I kicked your butt numerously.
First of all, numerously wasn't the right word to use there. Second of all, I don't recall what you're talking about, and I'm pretty sure nobody else does either.
I have it on video.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the same video where he had to have help to go 2-2 with me in Battlegrounds.
all right.
So.
Well,
No. It was the same video where you guys tricked me into doing that one quest when the strain stuff came out, and I died like 16 times.
Yes, that was good.
I wish
You
I
guys
remembered
remember
that
that?
because that sounds awesome. You'll have to send us that video because I want to post it all over the place.
I'll have to find it.
If you still have it, that'd be great. So yeah, I did that, and I did something weird at work. It wasn't weird. We literally just like a couple of people were transferred from one building to another, so I had to help them transfer their electronic devices, and it was a huge pain in the butt. For just like, hey, make sure these computers get to the other place and then they work. And I was just like, okay, that sounds super easy. And then it ended up being very
Never say that.
complainy, like the whole way. I want this. Why don't I have this? Nah. I'm just, I'm gonna
Get what you
I'm gonna
get.
punch you. Except for you have to be nice because that's the rule. You have to be nice to the people.
Whoops! Your monitor fell on the move
No,
over.
no, that would make
Sucks.
my life way worse. I'm not gonna break anything on purpose. That's not how that works. So yeah, a lot of work this week. Did some PvP stuff. Got a lot of PvP gear. Really excited to be fully decked out in PvP gear and being a useful individual in PvP. Now I just need to work on. That's my next goal, is to work on amp and ability points. Try to get those maxed out because I need it really badly. I need more ability points. Why are you golf clapping me? Why are
You're
you
medic.
golf?
Be quiet. Just be quiet. Shh, quiet.
Still, he's a smart. He still does really well in Battlegrounds. I'll give him that.
How was your week, Doc? Did you already say how your week was? You didn't. did
Not
you?
yet. My week is fucking awesome. Well, first off, I went to Comic-Con. I took my daughter and my nephew on Thursday. I let them run around outside pretty much. It was super cool for them. It was my nephew's first time going. My daughter has been going every year since she could actually walk, so 4 or 5 years running. I went to cover some stuff for a friend on Friday, and this is where all the awesomeness happens. So I'll make this as fast as I can because I know we don't want to drag on too much. But I ran into a friend of mine I haven't seen in a few years. We're having lunch, and he says, hey, I have some friends that are here from the con. They work in, like, Irvine-ish area. It's like a smaller-ish MMO studio called Carbine.
Stop saying
They
ish.
work on a game called WildStar. Like, what? Oh, really? That's cool because I do a podcast on it. He goes, yeah, they're here somewhere. I wanted to hang up with them later. But we have to go to this Transformers panel that he's been trying to get me to go to all the whole day. So on the way, we're running there because we're a little late. And we incidentally run into these very same Carbine employees that he was just mentioning that he's been friends with for a few years. I was like, this is the weirdest, coincidental, small little world. I ran into Angie, who's a prop artist, Steve, I think he's a coder, and Christy. And they were super nice. They were super cool. None of them have Twitters, so I want to give a shout out here. KDM helped me remember where they were in the company on Twitter, so that was really cool. Afterwards, I like spending one day at a Comic-Con, traveling to like different panels that I never would have gone to before, or maybe may have missed out because of the bigger names. So I hopped into this webcomics panel because I want to go back into drawing webcomics. It's being hosted by Mark Wade, I believe it was, with Matt Imnan from The Oatmeal, Ali Broche from Hyperbole and a Half, and Jennifer something from Dreamers. I forgot her last name, I'm sorry. It was an awesome panel, totally spurred me into drawing again more and doing a webcomic when I can make the time for it. Afterwards, Matt says, I have no booth, I'm just going to walk around, I'll take sketches, I'll take photos, whatever you guys want to do. So I had on my sketchbook, and he says, this is actually really good. And he starts talking to me about how I do brushstrokes. So I'm giving The Oatmeal advice and how I do brushstrokes and art. And in return, he draws me a fucking awesome bear in a bra, which, because why not? Right next to my own sketch.
Wait, I
And
want
he's
to
like,
see the bear in the bra.
I'm looking for it right now.
That
Here we
better
go.
be what you're looking for.
Bear
Right now.
boobies.
This is the drawing he saw. It was mine from the Ghostbusters stuff. It from Oatmeal.
Amazing. That's amazing.
He was like, dude, I've seen some of your stuff. Let's do this image online. You need to draw. Oatmeal and Hyperbole and a Half tell me I need to draw more. So I'm like, I have to draw more. I have to put something out more. It was super cool. And then he says, well,
Can you put the
Huh?
bear in the bra back on the screen, please?
as I talk a little more as I finish it up.
Yeah,
Even
whatever.
It's like I have nothing else to do, so I have Exploding Kittens right here in my backpack. Anybody want to play? So myself, another person, 2 devs from Magic the Gathering, Hyperbole and a Half, and The Oatmeal play Exploding Kittens for like 20 minutes. And right next to him was Max from Cards Against Humanity. And so Max from Cards Against Humanity shows us something super cool that I can't tell anybody, but it was super, super cool.
Great. That was a great way to end it off. Super
Ever.
cliffhanger.
You ain't nothing shit for me. I like.
Quick, spoil it.
Nope.
Exclusive on it.
No.
I
Don.
can't.
Don't
Trust
go
me,
ruining
you-
stuff.
Cards Against Humanity in a few weeks, you will thoroughly enjoy what's coming out. I'll just say that. I was supposed to meet up with Nifty at the Nerdist Carnival. I totally forgot. So I'm sorry, Nifty. I know you're here listening. I got super sidetracked. I do apologize so much for missing you. Other than that, it's been a Comic-Con full week. I am a terrible person. So I came to my parents because they were closer by, and we're just relaxing right now, and I'm doing the show. So that was my week this week.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's move on to the strange tales of this week.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. Not a whole lot like last week of the number of news items, but some pretty beefy and meaty subjects we're talking about. First and foremost, we got some game note updates. And as always, guys, feel free to chime in with your opinions and thoughts anywhere you want to. This came out the 7th of July, so last week, last week. And a few major things of note. Costumes can only be switched once every 15 seconds, and they cannot be switched anymore in combat due to performance.
I'm 90% sure I called this happening.
I think we all thought about it because that one Costume Manager just came out.
If I didn't say this on the podcast, and I at the very least thought this in my head, I called this. It sucks because the add-on was awesome. I love that.
No. It was needed because people would use it in arenas and time people out, and they would get free wins. It was BS.
Oh, that sucks.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they if you switched constantly between costumes, it would cause the system of other players around you to freak out because the textures were changing so frequently that it would lag your opponent out.
But not your own?
That's a fair change.
No, it wouldn't lag your own because it was you were doing it from your computer. Your computer was handling everything.
Huh.
So you were like mini DDoSing people.
Yeah.
Very rudimentary.
There's a reason why WoW doesn't allow that kind of stuff. I mean, it's the same thing as Counter-Strike 1.5 used to have this problem. They would switch weapons really fast. You could put on a macro and use your mouse wheel and switch weapons within like 50 times in like half a second, and it would lag people out.
That's BS.
Yep.
Well, it wasn't being used that maliciously at first, but if you're using Costume Manager for that specific reason to do really cool designs with your costumes, or you were just constantly switching them out, well, now you have 15 seconds to wait, and it kind of kills some of the fun of that add-on, so I do apologize for that. For medics, something had come out this week. Collider's Tier 8 ionized damage can now crit like normal.
Woo.
Before, it wasn't critting normally. That's
crits.
exactly what medics need. More crit.
Oops.
Just more blood. As for Spell Slingers, their Void Pact Tier 4, which would occasionally not work, is supposed to always work as intended now. So hopefully that will be the case. And with Stalkers, if you've been using Frenzy, it should no longer remove Preparation's Tier 1 buff, because if you use Preparation, you would get a Critical Strike buff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And if you try to use Frenzy like right after it, it would just wipe it out and cancel the buff out, so now that should be fixed.
That's a lot of kind of like small fixes, but very, very important ones, I think.
Well,
Yes.
the Frenzy thing was pretty much there from day one, so it's
Was it really?
Yeah, I'm glad that's finally fixed.
Kind of butt.
You know, it happens.
Hey,
Apparently.
they're all actually really nice changes. There's nothing too... They're all good buffs to the classes, but they aren't going to be issues, except for maybe more ionized crit damage.
So
I'm also happy that you can't use food and pop buffs in PvP anymore. They won't persist.
yes.
Because that was stupid.
Yes.
The
That
dumbest was just like, why is this a thing? That's so dumb.
That's a big
Good
thing.
change.
Having
Good change.
those things persist into PvP was a big thing, and I'm glad that they. First of all, I'm surprised that took so long, because was that like a recent problem that was introduced, or
No,
something?
that's been there since day one.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they fixed it finally.
A big enough issue where that needed to be addressed. So a large number of food and pop-ups are no longer persistent into PvP.
I mean-
They didn't get the list, but assume that almost everything you're going to eat to get a slight edge when it starts isn't going to show up anymore.
Here's my question: so let's say I eat something that changes my moxie for 30 minutes, and then I go into PvP for 10 minutes, and then I come out again. I know it's very rare to have a PvP match that lasts 10 minutes, but whatever. Will it reapply itself?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't
I
think
think
so.
it just removes it. I think it just removes it.
That's dumb.
I don't think there's any way to code that in. I think it would probably confuse the system.
Yeah, I think honestly it's probably better off that you just waste the food. I mean, that sounds kind of mean, but you're using it for a specific advantage that no longer is being allowed. So, you know what? You lost that food. Oh well.
Well, but I mean, like, if I'm doing PvE content and I eat stuff, and then I'm while I'm queued for PvP, just like coincidentally, not like I'm maliciously trying to get this buff in PvP, then I go back into PvE and I just don't have to eat my food again. But what if I want to queue for PvP?
I mean, honestly, is 30 Moxie at level 60 going to be a big deal? Not really.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. 30 Moxie is not a huge boost.
That's
It's
like
enough
half a
that-
percent, if that.
Mox or the max level's 50.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
But I mean, if you're looking for that extra little edge of DPS, that's what you would do. And they're just like, no, you can't do it anymore. It's incidental if you were just questing like normal and you get popped out or you popped into a queue. Sorry, it's the food buff's gone, but
Whatever. 90% of the time, I don't use food buffs anyways. Like only when.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
about to do something
I
hard.
really hope that they allow remove the use of potions and that kind of crap, because I think that's really stupid. Like,
Potion.
like potions. I feel,
battlegrounds I'm okay with, but like in arena, it doesn't make any. It doesn't make a. I've never understood why you could use healing potions and that kind of stuff in arenas.
I've always been okay with healing potions in arenas. I felt like it's part of the tactic. If you feel like you can pop your potion fast enough,
Right.
it gives you an edge. But
Well, and
I can see why you wouldn't like it. You'd be like, God damn it!
I don't do
Well-
arenas very often, so and I'm just speaking from like a battlegrounds perspective. I've never seen them make that big of a difference in battlegrounds. Like I'll be chasing someone down trying to kill them. I'll hear the swing of a potion being consumed or some kind of pot being consumed, and then they'll just die.
Well, you're a medic, buddy. I mean, come on. Like you're just like silly potion.
But it's
Makes
like you're a
sense.
stalker. You're like
finished.
the worst case in the entire game. You just burst people to nothing. You think they can pop a potion in 4 seconds? Like no.
Yeah, I've seen people do it all the time. But the main reason that battlegrounds is used is because I have like no HP, and I only have one heal that does like, 500 healing. I'm like, woo.
That'll keep you alive for an extra
Yeah.
4 seconds.
So but yeah, it's definitely a good change.
Nice. And then we're keeping on the PvP train. If you're playing in Daggerstone Pass, the bombs will actually continue to spawn for the whole duration of the match now. And their duration time has been lowered from 120 seconds. Or sorry, to 120 seconds from 140 seconds.
And by duration time, he meant spawn time.
Sorry, yes.
So yeah,
basically,
I think that's a good
bombs will
change.
happen all the time, and they'll be happening faster.
I think it's nice to reward people who can, because the bomb thing is hard. If you get a team in Daggerstone Pass that isn't good at protecting their base from bombs, then you're gonna lose. Whether it's 120 seconds or 140 seconds. So
Yeah.
making it 120 seconds, first of all, makes bombs like a little more viable thing to push in because you can do it a little more often. And second of all, if you're against that team that can't protect from bombs and you know you're going to win anyways, it makes it go a little bit faster, which is nice.
Yeah, it just speeds speeds the process up nicely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I'm okay with. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Bloodsworn. Oh, hey, look at that! It's a change for Bloodsworn too. Those control points in Bloodsworn, they now have a 25-second initialization period, so you can't just have a stalker who's got like
Thank
tier
you.
8. Was it their dash? Forgot the name of it. That just boom, boom. Yeah, they can't pounce twice in a row with the speed boost and get there within 5 seconds to cap it. You actually have to wait roughly 30 seconds so people can just kind of set up their defenses or attacks.
I really
don't-
hope this doesn't lead to giant monster rush of people to midpoints, because that's going to be a mess. Those especially that first point is super small and like has the ledges. There's just like no room to fight, and having just that many people there all fighting, it's not going to be healable for sure, which is my main
Halls of the
concern.
Bloodsworn is just one of those really odd. It takes like capture points and like King of the Hill and like Mace. It's a weird battleground. Not a lot of people enjoy it, but this is definitely going to help. I think the last change that really needs to happen is instead of clicking on the stupid side points to control, it needs to be all King of the Hill stuff. It doesn't need to be King of the Hill and click. It just needs to be one or the other. I think if it was all King of the Hill, it'd probably make it even better. Just because it'd be more of a King of the Hill match, I guess. I don't know.
That's interesting. I think that I'd be totally willing to try something like that. Or even like instead of having it be like 2 capture points and 1 King of the Hill pad thing, having it be like 2 separate King of the Hill pads so that you get some like progress for standing on either one. I think that'd be interesting. It'd make the defense, because I think being able to defend a single point that's in like the middle of a room just is kind of a little straightforward and a little easy. There's not really any tactic to it aside from like your team comp and how quickly you get there. Like that's pretty much it. So like spreading it out would be nice, but I think it would be good to take out the capture point thing, because it's really annoying to have to deal with medic fields in that situation.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, let's have a team of 10 medics and just win Bloodswarm every game.
Yep. Yep.
It's just medics, and like probably a warrior would just probably just wreck everything.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I mean, all overall, I'm really excited to see these changes, and it looks like they're doing really good kind of step in the right direction for PvP. They're starting to listen, kind of add things that's supposed to be there. So
more Daggerstone bombs mean more Daggerstone queues. Hopefully, I mean, if they can change the fact that more Daggerstone would actually queue more.
It's such a good battleground. I hate Walatiki Temple.
Still one of my favorites to play. Well, Walatiki Temple is very standard in every single game. Daggerstone has a fun map to play with. It's large enough that mounts become a fun thing. You have little skirmishes that happen in between the major battlegrounds, so you kind of have this constant sense of anticipation and tension while you're moving around, wondering, am I going to get ganked? Can I run up this girder and lose them, and then can I jump into the massive melee? So it's really fun to play like that, and I want to queue more personally, and everyone does. I
think the reason that Walatiki is my favorite is because it's so simple to understand. There's one objective, it's the mask. You can either obtain that mask from the ground in the middle or from the enemy's totem. Those are really the only constraints. Those are the only objectives. And so you get new people in there, and they just kind of, not immediately, but relatively quickly understand what's going on and how to approach the battleground. Whereas the other one, I just had a stroke and forgot the name of the battleground with the bombs. And the Daggerstone Pass. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me flounder in my forgetfulness for a good minute.
I was totally let you straight. I was going to go further, but I figured we got a show to do.
I was scrolling through the notes trying to find it. So in Daggerstone Pass, it's way more complicated. You have 3 points and 4 bombs that can be in play at any given time, and it's just super hard. And you can mount, and you don't know where to go and what to prioritize. It takes a lot longer to get kind of the mindset of that battleground in your head, I think, which is why I think Walatiki Temple is a little easier for me to enjoy, because everybody seems to know what they're doing most of the time. Most of the time. Definitely not all the time. Definitely not all the time.
There's one more point in the show notes that I thought might be interesting to raiders. We don't typically talk about raider stuff. Yeah, we don't typically talk about raiding stuff in this show because we're not well versed. We want to rectify that. But one thing I thought would be good to know for them if they haven't seen this yet. In Datascape, you can now always use your grapply hook when you're hit by a wind wall. Before, it would be occasionally get hit by a wind wall, no grapply hook, and you're a dead raider.
Yeah, that's such a great change.
So it's a nice little change where if you do get smacked around, you're not screwing over your raid on accident, because sometimes you just can't anticipate that. So you can recover a little easier now. I just wanted to mention that before we move on to the next point. Now, we all know that there is a new drop coming this fall. Soon. TM, fall, TM. It's not just the developers that are building new zones or changing the systems. We also have Jeff Kurtnacker, who's been working on brand new music. And if you go to his Instagram, you will get a tiny little sneak peek at this new track. Woo. And it sounds really cool. It sounds more kind of sounds like the Battle for New York from Avengers. It's got a tiny little desperate, a tiny little heroic, a tiny little. It's got a massive fight sound to it going on, like a heroic moment happening.
Considering that this is an audio podcast, I can just kind of play it for people.
Yeah, so let's stop for a moment, and then he'll let us know we're back up and going.
Hey guys, I'm at Igloo. I'm here with Nick Baxter.
What's up?
We're mixing some new Wildstar music. Want you to check it out.
Also, the people that are salted on me in chat, you guys can fight me about it.
That's all you get!
Yeah, guys, remember to keep it. I understand you guys have different views of people. We will explain why Baz is here soon. Just keep it civil, guys. I do appreciate that.
It's appropriate that the police sounded just during that.
I was playing.
Getting swatted right now, Baz.
I was playing the music. Were people being mean when I played the music? I hope everybody liked the music.
The music sucked. You're horrible.
Well, you couldn't hear it because you're not on the stream, I assume. That was the music. It sounds great, and I really like how at the end he says, "That's all you get," and then the video's just over.
I mean, it is a Vine. It's only 6 seconds?
It was on his Instagram.
Yeah, it's 15 seconds.
It was on Instagram? Okay.
Yeah. It's a 6-second clip. It sounds really cool. Like I said, it has a little bit of an Avengers vibe to me, which means it's a big fight vibe kind of feel.
Yeah.
But one more big cool news. It's a little bit of a community thing, and it's a little bit not. Laser Louie, who you guys might remember from ReadyCheck, he shows up on Reddit here and there and is a really cool contributor, and he wanted to bring back up 2 zones that people who've been watching since beta have known of, and we haven't shown them on the show yet, to my knowledge. Now we want to. They're called Dreadmore and Murkmire. Now there are 2 zones that have been rumored to have been leveling zones back when they were in beta and the development of the game, and for some reason they just weren't finished, or their purpose was just moved to somewhere else. What's interesting about them, though, is that they're not stuck on the PTR. The zones are actually live. I don't know how you get to them, nor would I tell you how to get to them if I could.
Why not?
Well, that
Death
breaks
Island.
TOS.
Yeah, it does.
It's a Death Island situation.
Yep.
If you get there, good for you. And I don't think Mr. Louis also tells you how to get there, so don't bother asking him. Don't ask us, even if I did know I wouldn't tell you, because that's a big no-no. You'll get fatigued out and die, which you should. But if you could get in there, Lizard Louis gave us two great image things about them. So Dreadmore, if you don't know what it is, it's like a kind of marshy swampland. It's got a very cool horror vibe, but very desolate vibe. It's very dark, like shit's going down there, and it's really cool. You actually can see Mordash and Chua and Draken and Aura and architecture going on there. So it kind of seems to me like it would have been a very wild or White Veil style zone, where both factions would be coming into play more often. I would have hoped, considering it was supposed to be a possible alternate leveling zone. So that sounds kind of cool to me. And if I've been told there's also a picture of it somewhere that it's south of Ilium, that's all I know. Getting to it at your own risk. You get caught, you can't blame STOS.
That's up on the stream. So it's like right below Daradoon, Ilium, and Auroria. Like all three of those continents are not continents. Those zones are next to each other, and then it's immediately below all three of them. And it looks like it connects to all three of those.
And they're actually there. You'll see empty spaces of map on your in-game map, and Dreadmore and Murkmire are somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I
don't see Murkmire, but I do see Dreadmore. And then here's a map of the actual zone. Boop.
It's going to be against the TOS because to get there, you probably have to do things that break the game and exploit stuff.
Essentially,
You're not
yes.
supposed to do that.
So Laser Lou might get a talking to, or he might be appreciated for it, but they'll probably ask him how he did it and then patch up the holes.
Yeah. That seems like
basically don't pull his eye back. That's all I gotta say.
Don't put a rock.
Space bar.
How did you get to the zone? I put a rock on the space bar.
No, it's one of those like dippy drink birds. And every time it fills up.
Oh, dude.
Like the Simpsons, that one episode where Homer becomes really fat, and just the dippy bird.
I'm super into that.
Oh my god.
Getting super fat?
No, the dippy bird. I hate you. I hate you so much.
So Murkmire, if you haven't seen it, we'll show it in a little bit. It has a more of a desolate wasteland kind of feel to it. It's actually surprisingly bright for parts of it. There's a lot of Granok and Osin and Human and Cassian architecture, and some Freebot stuff there too, if you have a keen eye. That supposedly is found south of White Veil-ish. And like I said, the reason we wanted to bring it up was I don't believe we had talked about it on the show. And it's just kind of showing what art assets you can kind of see in this game, what they wanted to do with it. I don't know if they actually ever released the zones. There's even mentions of another one called Corralis, but no one's actually seen anything from Corralis. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about stuff like this? Should they actually live the game, or should they have just wiped it out completely?
Honestly, I don't think it matters. I mean, realistically, like, it's going to be shown eventually, so... I mean, as long as people keep this under the mindset of, everything is subject to change, it's not final. I mean, it could be final because it's already in the live build, but they could patch it and completely change it. So,
yeah.
I mean, someone said in chat that they really hope they add new zones. I'm getting sick of going to through White Veil again and again. I really do hope they add new starting zones because, man, it's not...
Oh, alternate leveling zones would be a fun concept. I mean, a lot of games do that, and I understand why they decided to streamline the process to kind of corral players to be more around. But if we're getting an influx of players, I wouldn't mind a few months after that relaunch that they say, hey, we've decided to spice it up a little bit and give you guys some more presence in game.
Yeah.
My legs.
I agree. Yeah.
It hurts.
It hurts.
That was gross. I don't want to look at your pasty legs ever again. I personally like these two zones. Baz. Baz, why did you just put your foot up into the camera?
It's the light from the screen that makes my brown skin look really pale. It's really weird.
I hate you guys so much. I'm not wearing pants. You don't see me flashing my boxers to people, all right? Doc, you guys are fucking children. You guys are literally fucking children, the both of you.
This is the best. See, we can get away with this stuff because Indigo's not here. So.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted to go back, because he has the commanding presence to get you two to stop being fucking idiots.
I would have listened to him anyway, to be honest with you, so it's okay.
Okay. Let's move on to the strange tales from the community.
You didn't let me finish what I was saying about zones.
Let's go back from the strange tales of the community.
Nope, I'm done. I don't want to say it anymore.
Okay, strange sales of the community for this week. It is chock full of housing. No joke. This is just the week of really, really awesome housing. I may have missed some stuff, so I do apologize if you had an awesome community thing. I just wasn't able to catch it, so I do apologize. First and foremost, Wildstar Inspiration came back with episode 10, called Tech City, from Proxima Dust on Dominion Entity. Now, if you get a chance, you are Dominion side, check out Proxima Dust. They have made this multi-level, multi-tiered neo futuristic city. Like, if you guys ever watched like Blade Runner or Akira or Nar Shaddaa from Star Wars: The Old Republic, it kind of has a very like brightly lit neon, but also kind of seedy look to it. It's kind of it has that kind of 90s, 80s sci-fi vibe to it. It's really kind of cool. I definitely recommend checking it out if you're Dominion side. As for Idesthenia, she came back on EU side with the housing plot visit number 22. Do you know how to pronounce this? Because I don't.
Blanotherapy. Blanotherapy?
Neotherapy?
Blaniotherapy.
I don't know. The Baz is like, I'm not even going to try.
That's
He
probably
is
for the
now
best.
Steve. Steve is his name.
Yeah. So Steve's housing plot is from Balafar.
Idesthenia's house. That's the name of the person. Is God.
No, the person who has the name of the house. It's called Balmio. It's called Steve's house.
Oh, okay. Steve's house. Gotcha.
Steve's house is from Balafar on Exile Jabbit. Yeah, it's once again, man. I have no words for. We mentioned this, and I'll show us a little bit more in a little bit. These people have the creativity. I will say time and time again, the creativity is insane on these people.
Yeah, I am fucking baffled. Like every single time I look at, he has a doormat that says balls.
Wow. That's amazing.
Rated T for teen.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
We're
Baffled
adults here.
by
Yeah, we're
creativity.
As with my sexy legs just mentioned, yeah, we are all adults here.
Yeah, we are.
Going back on the housing track, our own Chestnut from Q Times has come back with Yorkcore Nexus episode 7, The Green Ghost. I'm going to check this out too at the same time because I did see it and I totally spaced out on what it was, so I do apologize for that.
Rude.
So, it's been a long day. It's been a BS day. I'm glad.
I'm always amazed at the creativity of people with what they can do with like creative things like Minecraft. It's like I built this huge awesome city replica of like Tracy Crappie 2005, and I'm like, okay, cool. Here's my house. It's a square. and then
I design these housing plots, and it's like Legos on acid.
I'm just like, how do you people do this? More importantly, how do you have the patience to do this? Because like, I'll like start and be like, okay, this is really cool. Then I'm like, you know what? This is too much work. I'm gonna go like eat a cookie. It's just like
Eat a cookie.
I'm trying to make this complex right now, like a sports arena complex. That's a little more like traditional boxy look with like a cool skybox. I don't even have like 2 floors done. It's all just like plain floors. And I'm looking at all of these things from the community stuff, and then also the bar crawl stuff. I just took pictures of it. I'm like, I suck.
Well, so the thing that I've heard most from people that do stuff like this and do it well is that they plan it out beforehand and they like know that the pieces they have available to work with and they know how they want to lay them out. I know it's a lot of work,
just
but
like why?
that's how you get good results for most things is you put a lot of work into it and then it comes out good.
I mean,
some of these people are trying to show their like level editors or it's kind of like modders for other games like Skyrim or Fallout. It's a lot of passion project stuff, but some of them also have the motive of, look, this is how creative I can be with the tool set given to me.
That's true.
And I would be surprised if someone eventually says, yeah, I take an existing tool set from a game like WildStar, and I can create this. If you hired me and gave me your own tool set, imagine the shit I can make for you.
Yeah, I mean, the arena that I made for Thanksgiving last year, that took me like a month and a half. And it was just like a square box with some stairs. And I'm just like, you people are making like the Millennium Falcon, and like someone made a piano out of like 700 and some wood planks.
For you to use. It was in the promotional material, and you didn't use it.
I'm sorry. Yours was like this little circle that was like.
Correct.
Anyway, let's move on. We have 2 other really cool things before we bring on why Baz is here this week. So, Quantum has come back with a very simple and less funny but more informative video on how to be a good guild leader. Now, it's pretty cool. Mostly, Quantum does a lot of like snarky humor and stuff that I really appreciate. But this is more like, hey guys, guild leaders are a dime a dozen, and they have their own motives and whatnot. And what makes a good guild leader for one group doesn't mean the same for another, and he kind of differentiates them between a social guild and a more progressive guild or progression obsessive guild. And it's something to keep in mind when you're in a guild or when you want to run a guild or when you want to start a guild, that you have to kind of acknowledge what your intent is with being a good guild leader.
Yeah.
Because you could be running a social guild, but then go like, I want to do this and that, and you become a total jerk. Or you're super lax on running a progression guild, and people are like, I don't want to be here anymore. So I think it's really fun to learn or to read or watch and understand.
Yeah. And if you are a guild leader and you need help, then maybe this can help you. And if you're a guild leader and you think some of the things are wrong, we'd love to hear about it and like kind of discuss your opinions on his advice and so on and so forth. So yeah, let us know.
As have any of us, I know Krug, this is your first major MMO, but Baz, have you ever tried doing guild leading?
I led way too many guilds in World of Warcraft. I led a world second guild in BC for about a month and a half. So that was stressful as hell. I
can imagine with your personality, no offense, that it would be a rough experience.
No, it's actually funny. Like I'm actually a really nice guild leader when it comes to it.
Dog, that's really funny.
But I mean, no
offense,
that's
but your personality.
No offense. Really, I'm just trying to be nice about it.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair. It really is. But no, I mean, like, guild leading is pretty simple when it comes down to it. You just gotta, don't be a dick. Put yourself in someone else's shoes and just be friendly. It's not like I've been in guilds where the guild leader's like, we're gonna do this, and like the mxxZkj video, like minus 50 DKB, that kind of stuff. I've been in guilds where the guild leader is that batshit crazy, like just like yelling and like crying and just crazy. I'm just like, okay, well, this guild is not for me. I'm gonna go outside and take some air. So,
I'm sorry. Wait, what? Is there a zone or something called outside? Like, how do you get to outside?
Well, okay. So Krug, it's really cool. So, so you get up out of your chair. Okay. Your chair.
Like, is it a specific chair? Do I have to place the chair in my house or like?
No. The chair that you right-clicked on this morning to sit down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That one.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to right-click on it again.
Okay.
And so you stand up. You hold down your W key. You walk outside your door.
Doc literally left because we're having this conversation. Doc literally left the room. Oh, it looks like stuff's going on at his house. There are people entering the room that he was
rave party.
In. Anyways, I guess we can move on without him. It's going to be hard for me because I have to also do the stream switchy stuff. So that'll be fun.
Oh, that's fun.
So aside from Baz and I being total goobers with each other, the Nexus best dressed list. That's a serious tongue twister for me because I always want to say the Nexus next best dressed list, which isn't what it's called, is happening again, which is awesome. It's for those of you that don't know, a costume contest that they hold on Nexus, and it's pretty awesome. It's being hosted by Doomkitty as usual, and Doomkitty. I don't think she's that kind of Doomkitty. She's actually really nice, like
okay,
all the time. So I don't. Yeah.
No, she kind of is that kind of Doomkitty. She's just nice about it. She's like the crazy Doom. Think of like Invader Zim Doom. Doom.
I'm gonna just say that you said that, not me. So if Doomkitty wants to rain her wrath on anybody, it's gonna be Doc.
She said it herself. Anyway, we got to the Nexus best dress list, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. So we talked about the bar crawl?
No.
Oh, okay, so let's finish up with Nexus best dress list, and then we'll go into bar crawl.
Yeah.
So it's going to take place next Saturday, July 18th, from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, however you want to do it. There's actually going to be a theme for this month, and it's going to be called Over the Rainbow. And any attendee who's wearing a rainbow-colored outfit will actually have a chance to win prizes.
Ooh.
So keep that in mind. That's actually pretty cool. And as always, they'll have, best in show, best color, best cosplay. The lightning round is back. So for those of you who don't know, last time at the Nexus Best Dress list, they had a lightning round where they gave a quick theme, and contestants had about 60 seconds to create a costume based on the theme. One of the themes last month was podcasters who don't clean their rooms. and they actually had a set of a podcaster who did not clean his room. And it was the highlight.
So basically crude.
Middle fingers.
Right?
Yep. And it was funny because everybody was naked. It was like 90% of the people who
they either had no pants or they were naked. It was fantastic. I loved it.
People that listen to our stream already know that, but
Seems
Baz.
just
And
like
regardless of his middle fingers, he still enjoyed it.
I did. It was fun.
So, what were you saying?
nothing. It's just so like crude. just to be naked and have a dirty room. I mean,
what else do you expect? I mean, that's,
I mean, look at it right now. It looks like he just rolled out of bed and showed up.
it does.
that's pretty much what happened. I've
See,
had
here's
a
the thing,
long
I don't
week.
care about his bed. Everyone else does. I
I've
don't
had
know
a long
why.
week. I'm allowed to be sloppy when I'm tired. Thank you. All right. I've given myself that right. Nobody else has.
Look on Bass's face. I shall play you the world's tiniest violin.
I don't have kids, so I don't have to do anything for anyone.
That's true.
I gotta
He's got a
look
point.
after Krug. That's
He's
what
got
I'm
a
doing.
point.
And some days he can barely even do that.
Right?
Speaking of kids, I'll be having another one come August. Actually, my wife's
Hey, congratulations!
That was quick. Congrats, dude.
Time to start putting out more videos. You got an extra bottom to feed.
It's true. It's true.
So we're gonna do one more bit of note before we talk to Baz, and we mentioned a pub crawl or a bar crawl. So Friday night, Major Tom and a few of his friends hosted a bar crawl called the Bar Crawl. So what they did was they actually checked out and visited different pub houses and bars and clubs on housing plots and had some fun RP times. They showed the night away, and from what they said, the turnout was pretty awesome. And from what I'm hearing and what I saw, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And here are some of the winners. So the best bar at the bar crawl was Slade Frackwell. And I have a picture. I actually went to all these plots just before the show and took a quick picture. They are super freaking cool. I strongly recommend watching all of these. This is like a super fun, like adventurers kind of pub, which is just junk everywhere, and prizes and trophies and people cheating at dice and everything else. And this is only a part of each of these housing plots. You have to go in there. There's extra stuff that's really, really cool. So after that, we have Best Vibe was Keva Unari. And if you don't know the name, how about Q Time's own Rabid? So her bar has a much more RN theme. Like, it's very in-world. Like, if RNs had a bar or a rest stop or a tea place, what do RNs drink? Do they drink alcohol?
I would assume tea and probably wine because they're more of a foresty nature.
Or like the blood of their enemies because they're evil, feral little bastards?
That works
Hey.
too.
Hey, they are adorable space bunnies. Okay.
Of Doom.
Okay, of Doom. Sure, why not?
But it was really cool. If you get a chance, she actually on Keva Unari's plot. If you go up the stairs, it's in that picture on the right side. There is a little alcove, little second story that is ready for pen and paper battles and Dungeons and Dragons if you so choose to. Or in this case, would it be Adventures in Stemdragons?
Sure, I guess.
Adventures and Stemdragons.
I'd play that.
Okay.
The Chua rolls. Critical failure. Chua's own gun explodes. Reroll a new character.
All right.
I'm
Somebody's
okay with
making a
that.
new role-playing table or role-playing set.
Death to Chua. They are evil furballs.
Oh my god, a Wildstar pen and paper would be kind of fun. Not gonna lie.
I'd play it. I'd play the F.
I'd
out
play
of
it.
That would be fun because I did the Warcraft RPG. So,
How was that? I mean,
the
real
thing?
quick.
I mean, honestly, it's a Blizzard product, so fantastic. I mean, like,
Right.
Moving on to the best staff. Now, this is a cool category, so let me explain this. The winner was Soft Kiss. Real simple thing. These guys, I actually went in there with Doom into their housing plot. Here's the picture we're going to show you. They had a full staff. They had a receptionist to help you to your seats. They had bar staff. They had strippers. They even had washroom attendants.
strippers.
And
I'm okay
as
with that.
the strippers of all shapes and sizes. This place is sick, man. I loved all of these bars. I prefer the bars from Slade and Brutes Creek. We're going to show it a little bit. That's just my personality. I love bars I can go to and get a whiskey at. That's my vibe. But this place, Soft Kiss, has a second story of like rooms. They even had a BDSM room, complete with bear traps and lasers and cameras. And I was like, this is awesome. If you love the RP and you like some weird, crazy stuff, Soft Kiss. The place is massive, and I can imagine it being packed. And from what I was told, the bar crawl it was.
Yeah, you
So-
can imagine
so-
it being packed. Of course
Yeah,
you could.
yeah. It's basically Goldshire. So the best part about jeez, the best part about WildStar is there's no naked gnomes running around.
What's Goldshire?
You don't want to know. We will explain that to you in the post show.
Okay. Yeah, we don't. You just don't want to know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And then last but not least, we have a best overall. That's from Brutekrieg Boulder Brew. Now, actually, in this photo, Brutekrieg was there to meet me, and he, Doom, and I had a quick chat about it. And he said that what they mentioned to me was the Drunken Boulder, which is the name of the pub. The plot is called Brutekrieg Boulder Brew, but it's called the bar itself is called the Drunken Boulder. Apparently, it's a very heavy RP active place. Like, a lot of people that show up there for all their drinks and all their fun, their RP activities. And to be honest, I see why it won best overall, because that thing is... It honestly feels like a bar I've been to in LA. There's a bar in LA that is actually made out of an old train depot that has the same like look and vibe and the old like old-timey kind of saloon bar look to it that I instantly thought of when I went to the Drunken Boulder. And I can see why it won. It's so cool to me. So Brutekrieg Boulder Brew won for best overall at the bar crawl. And as it was an audible mention to Anoya Brat's plot for Artisan Bakery and a Sky Restaurant. I didn't get a chance to check that one out because I ran out of time. But the best part is, all of these names and all of these plots are public. So if you have time to go into game, even if you're not an RP person, go check them out. I think they'll all remain public, and some of them might change. They might just remodel here and there.
Yeah.
I think Boulder Brew said that they actually changed 2 weeks before the pub crawl, and that might change accordingly again. I don't know, but they're super cool to go to. The vibe, the music, the lighting is all fantastic on these links. So that kind of wraps up the community news. Now, we didn't just kind of slap Baz onto Indigo's spot because Indigo was gone.
Well,
We actually want...
You kind of forced me. Like, Ninja showed up and like, do the show.
I may have held you at gunpoint. I mean, Clover was at a con, so...
Oh.
And Moose is like, yeah, no, I'm cool being the behind the scenes guy. He's like, fuck you.
Getting sick burned.
But no, we brought Baz on for a very specific reason. Now, I'm gonna preface, I should say.
Preface?
I don't. Yeah, I say things on accident on purpose. I don't care what your views on Baz are. He's a big boy. He can handle it. Please don't flame him in our chat. I do appreciate that you don't. He is a guest. We treat him with respect, regardless of whatever people think of him. I would extend the same to you if you choose to do that in our chat. Baz was a pretty active content creator early on in the game and left over personal reasons with the game. That's fair enough. Everyone has a chance to. He's known for being very vocal in whatever game he is, good and bad. If he really enjoys a game, he really enjoys it. And if he has an issue with the game, he has no problem making enemies over it. I mean, you really don't. And it's not to be a dick. You just come off like one.
Yeah, sometimes.
But I've never... But honestly, talking to you face to face, and we've had like serious discussions and whatnot, and you're not a jerk on purpose. That's just how you come off.
It's really the same situation that we all thought about. What was that guy's name? Oh man, the PvP guy.
Don't say his name. He's actually in chat right now. He will go off. He knows who you're talking about.
I've specifically said this to his face already.
No.
Don't say it. You know who we're talking about. We all just because we don't want to start.
Anyways, some people seem rude on the internet and are fine in person. That's
yeah. They're great people. You get a chance to talk to them, but
the internet does weird things to people.
One of the best examples I can give that is Idra from StarCraft. Mm-hmm. He is a complete dick in game. Like he like rages. He'll BM people. I have met him twice, and he will like hug his fans. He's like the nicest guy in real life, but he's a dick to people when he plays video games.
Some personality changes take over when you're playing games. But like we said, you left for a while, and a few weeks ago you said, "Hey, I'm coming back into the game," and this is kind of cool because it coincided with a chat we were having outside of the show and a discussion we were having for the show notes of people who had played the game and left over one reason or another and why they're coming back. And so, quite honestly, for you, we kind of understood why you left. You weren't happy with the way that it was being run by the developers. You weren't quite happy with the fact that there were a lot of unaddressed issues. And you said, I'm out, peace. Maybe you burn a bit of tree, whatever. That's just what happens. But what brought you back?
Well, I mean, to be real honest with you, $10 for 30 days of game time was pretty hard to pass up. But
that is a legit reason to come back, not going to lie.
It is.
Yeah, money's important.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, I have replayed all the MMOs again, Star Wars, Aeon, or Ion, however the hell if you want to say it, World of Warcraft, and I've tried Terra again and all this other stuff. And a game to me, when it's like, if it's really good, it's the controls and the combat. that always bring me back to a specific game. Like, I will always go back to Doom and Unreal Tournament and Quake because everything is so fluid. Nothing really changes that much, and it's all just, I'm good at it. I can pick it back up, get good at it again in another hour, and
it's very skill-based.
Right. And WildStar is the same way. And it got to the point where I was like, dear Lord, all these games are awful. like the combat was just slow, and quite frankly, like I don't play as much as I used to, obviously, but I want to see what happens when I play the game and not do a lot of content for it and not go into the, not be a community figurehead, if you will. I want to see if I can actually enjoy the game that way. Because I think one of the reasons that I got so upset with the developers is because I got invested into really trying to make sure everything was the way it should be and what the community wanted. And when developers just don't listen and clearly don't give a shit, at least at the time, then I was just like, this is a waste of my time. So what am I doing? I think what really kind of sealed it for me was when we did the PvP town hall, and they clearly were not giving any answers that anyone really wanted. It was just a bunch of kind of merry-go-round stuff. And then Drop 4 came out, which was a really good drop. It improved a lot of the things that, there was a problem, but PvP still was not fixed. And then it just kind of became worse and worse for me, and it basically got to the point where it's like, okay, they buff medics again. They clearly don't actually understand how to do anything with their game. And, I was... Yeah, shut up. You were waiting for it.
Now, some people are going to disagree on some of your points, and that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion.
That's totally
But this is why you left. And this is what we're going to. We want to go a little bit on a specific with one person, and then also try to go into a little bit of a general, because now that you had that time away from the game where you didn't play, you didn't invest yourself into the community as much anymore on purpose, and you were watching everything on the outside, do you... this is all your opinion, and other people, they're coming back, have their own opinion. Does it feel like people are giving the game a fair shot, or are they still kind of taking just pot shots at it from the outside, going, well, the game's fucking done, it's going free to play, that's it, blah, blah, blah?
Well, honestly, I don't think the people that do try it and enjoy it, are going to enjoy it. The people that don't enjoy it are probably because either the game's going to be too hard for them because they're used to WoW, or it's not what they're looking for. So those are the two main reasons why people are not going to stay or return. And I think it's too soon to really kind of say whether the game's going to survive on free to play or not, because if they can do it really well, the game's going to be phenomenal. But if they fall into the trap of microtransactions and other just stupid, narky BS, then I don't think we're going to have a game that's going to last very long. And, watching from like an outsider perspective and kind of seeing people like give the game a fair shot and actually enjoy it, that's refreshing to see. But I'm also seeing some of those same people saying, okay, I've gotten to 50, I don't really want to keep doing all this same stuff I've been doing. Like the problem with every MMO is the end game is only so far. There's no PvP end game,
and we're devouring the content at an insane rate.
Right. I mean, obviously, Datascape's not going to be beat by every guild, but I'm starting to see a lot of Reddit posts that are just guild this, guild that, guild this. 7 of 8, 5 of 8, all this stuff.
The activity since Drop 3 has been tenfold. Mm-hmm. Not just guilds clearing it, but guilds competing in it.
And that's fantastic. I'm glad guilds are starting to kind of figure out how to get into Datascape and progress. But I think the biggest crutch that's going to hold this game back is quite honestly the attunement process. Because no other game has attunement. And as a casual player, why would I level any more alts? Why would I spend the time to go from 1 to 50 and then kill all these world bosses again and do all this other stuff? Like, I understand, you can do it while you're leveling. That doesn't happen, let's be honest, because there's not enough players right now to actually kill them, during your leveling process.
Which is good, because they said they've worked, or they're going to work on the attunement process for the free-to-play transition.
And that's great. That's fantastic.
I totally agree with you. If they hadn't have made that decision, that huge influx of players that was going to come in due to free-to-play was going to not stay as much as they could have. Does that make sense? We would have lost a large percentage.
Yeah, I've also personally found my own position on attunement shifting as I've done this show and as I've done more game time, and not just for me, but because any two more little bosses and the two big ones that are close to me are bugged. Whatever. I'm just thinking about it in a general sense, especially when we're going free to play. It's I can't tell if it's an archaic practice from old MMOs standards, or if it really still has a place. And I don't know if it has a place anymore.
Someone in chat just said it completely. I'm just going to call him Doc because I can't pronounce the rest of his name. He says that he travels a lot. He's a robotics engineer. So obviously he works a lot. He's extremely smart, and he doesn't have time to deal with that BS. He
wants to progress and get to that.
Exactly. But he wants to be able to go into Genetic Archive, which you guys have not even seen yet. And it's a phenomenal raid. It is.
And I'm cool with
it's fun.
Mm-hmm. And I'm super cool with Genetic Archives being a fucking kick in my pants. Like, I'm totally cool with showing up and doing, I know the basics, and I'm totally cool with going the first few weeks and getting my ass handed to me over and over and over to kind of get those bad habits out of there. And I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it if the process was retweaked or was something that was progressed with you as you leveled, kind of like the world story. That would probably make attunement a much more interesting process, where they said, like, at level 10 or something, hey, there's this thing that you're doing that'll grant you access into Genetic Archives. It's blocked off for this reason. Like, if they don't want to get rid of it, I wouldn't mind it being retold something like it is. But
well, okay, so if they want to keep the attunement, streamline it to where you have to do all the dungeons veteran. That's it. Don't do adventures because those are a waste of time. They take forever, and a lot of the times you get groups.
I disagree with that, but okay.
And they try to work a lot of unnecessary stuff into attunement. Like, the first step of attunement is wildly unnecessary. Going to buy the Genesis key is wildly unnecessary. Like, you could cut out half of the attunement and still get the big important bits of it done, and it would be much shorter.
Yeah, I mean, like for those of you that played World of Warcraft, like the Molten Core attunement, dear sweet mother.
Yeah,
that was
BC attunements. Ugh.
So, that was nothing compared to Molten Core.
Yeah,
I mean,
I only heard stories from that. I was around for BC.
I got 6 tunes attuned for Molten Core in a month and a half. That was ridiculous.
If you think, Krugs, I know you haven't played World of Warcraft or any of the MMO. If you think that it's bad right now, well, that's our great viewpoint with Krugs. That he has a set of eyes that he looks at us and go, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Which is great.
Yeah, he's like, attunement's not that bad. It can be tweaked. But Baz is right. Not only would attunement be as long or longer, they actually had zones for legendaries and attunement World of Warcraft that were nowhere. Like, they were nothing. Ash Sara, up until Cataclysm, was a fucking wasteland if you weren't a hunter.
Yeah, well,
or you need to get fire resistant gear from Blackrock Mountain, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, so kind of going back on the train track here. So attunement needs to be completely reworked because
Inimical in chat, I agree with him. Attunement should be more of a storyline type thing.
Yeah.
If attunement, it literally, it's a checklist as you're going through this world. And I don't mind the veteran dungeons being the hardest part. Like, look, you're gonna get your ass kicked when you get the GA, but this is the hardest content we can give you right now. Before that, go clear that. Give me bronze.
I mean, like the adventures are a lot of fun, but once you do them once, like, at least me personally, I feel that's just like, okay, I have to do what's the big long one? Yeah, I have to do that one because reasons, and that takes like an hour. It's just like.
I'm fine with adventures being in attunement mostly because I know we're getting off topic from players, but that's something that we know in general attunement could be worked at and looked at. Well, we could talk about the issue with the specific types of attunement in a later date.
Okay. So like another thing that you asked, from looking outside in, I'm seeing a little bit more dev interaction, which is really, really good. I know that Sunshine's been really, really helpful with you guys and just the community and just kind of answering things. I mean, props to them. That's a huge kind of step in the right direction. That was another reason why I quit. It's just I was really kind of sick of politic answers, like, oh, soon DM type of thing. But it just kind of looking from the outside in, it really looks like they're actively trying to actually answer things and fix problems, which is kind of another step in the right direction.
I mean, heck, we just mentioned, I think it was either before show or during the show, that there was an issue with the Hollow Wardrobe, I think Krug mentioned.
Huh?
That I think we were talking before the show about an issue in the game that got fixed in this show notes. Or just game notes.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there was an issue with costume pieces not changing quickly enough, or there was a really long delay if you're, for example, using an add-on like I do called like gear to switch your not costume pieces, just gear in general to switch your gear around. You'd click a macro to switch your gear, and it would do like one piece every like 8 seconds, and just be like click, and then you'd wait and wait and wait, and then it would switch to the next one. This used to be like a 1 second process for the whole thing. And so I went on the forums and like looked for a thread on it, and there was a thread, and people were like, hey, this is taking a super long time, but no feedback. And so we literally just like went on to Twitter and went to Dee Dee and were like, hey, can you look at this thread? And she was like, oh yeah. And she went, looked at the thread. A dev was in there in like 30 minutes, and the issue was actually fixed in like an hour.
I mean,
sometimes it takes too long to finally get to it, but the fact that they're actually being more reactive is nice.
It was like immediately once it was actually on their radar, it was just like, oh yeah, we can fix this without even shutting the servers off, so let's just fix it. And then they just fixed it.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that definitely has been, kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to hold my breath because that's happened before, and then they've gone silent again. So, like, I want the game to succeed. It's a fantastic game. It's a lot of fun, but they need to streamline leveling, attunement process, and they need end game PvP because that's going to be half their audience. I mean, like when you think about it,
there's an argument in MMOs right now with some circles wondering if the MOBA genre is taking over from PvP and MMOs.
Yes and no. Yeah. Okay. So that's actually
time. That's something for a future thing, maybe possibly. Well, but I can see being a good key to this. People are constantly asking for queues and whatnot, and as a returning player, it's still kind of I'm assuming it's still kind of odd to see people going, please queue twos, please queue RPGs, please.
Yeah, I was like, well, I thought it was getting better, and then I talked to people, and apparently my old Guild Lords of Dead isn't really active anymore, and that's like a huge deal. They were like one of the only exile guilds that were, super active. They're kind of waiting for everything just to change, and go ahead.
So basically, I'm asking is, do you feel like now everyone keeps asking, should I wait till the free to play or should I jump in now? And since you were a returning player, from a returning player standpoint, do you feel like it's worth it to jump in now, just get a box and get a subscription and try again, or wait to free to play?
Honestly, wait to free to play
for a returning player.
For anyone,
okay.
In my personal opinion, because I think that's when we're going to see Carbine kind of jump into overdrive, because they're going to have a game where anyone can access at any point instead of just buying.
So at this point, people want to jump in, no problem. But you figure from where you stand, it might be worth it if you're like, hey, I want to see how it really does. Just wait, and if you really like it, put money towards the signature status and whatnot.
There's not enough. People are going to hate me for saying this, but there's not enough player population to justify people coming in and actually getting their fulfillment out of the game, in my personal opinion. Just because say if someone came on, brand new player, they got to 50, they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And then they're like, they queue for PvP, and it's 30 minutes later, and they're like, does anyone do PvP? And they're like, no one really queues for it anymore. They're gonna be like, so what am I doing here? Or if they go in a lower level zone and they queue for a dungeon at lower levels as a healer.
Right now, yeah.
And on my Esper, as a healer, level 20, I was in a queue for 2.5 hours.
Jeez.
2.5 hours Saturday afternoon, obviously prime time. So, as a returning player,
without a safety net of a group or a social group, it might be better to wait up a few months.
It would, and I really think that free to play will make this game what it needs to be, because the game is so fun if you can just jump it. Like, you guys remember what it was like on launch? Bam, instant queues for like the first 3 or 4 months of just leveling alts and leveling stuff, and it was a ton of fun. Dungeons were new. They introduced different things, and people still couldn't figure out how to solo dungeons at that point. And it was just, it was a ton of fun. And I think if we can get that excitement back, the game will just wipe everything off the floor, because WoW's losing subs by the minute. Terra is, a niche market. And we have Star Wars, which, is more of a single...
completely, pretty much.
I mean, it's a good story game. It's a good single player game. It's BioWare storytelling. It's great, but in terms of like raids and stuff, it's pretty much WoW difficult. Everything's handed to you. There's not. I mean, there's not really any other game that like has the combat that's, that sucked in type of thing. I mean, it is
very engrossing. It's a huge breath of fresh air. I mean, coming from me, this probably doesn't mean much because I've never played any other MMOs. I haven't played very many other MMOs. The combat is super unique. Like, from what I've seen, obviously I've seen Warcraft content, I've seen Aeon content, I've seen Terra content, I've seen all that crap, Guild Wars, whatever, anything. I've seen it all. I know what all their combat systems are like.
You haven't played it, but you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I can't imagine them being better than WildStars. Can't imagine it. Like,
no. I mean, it
depends on your preference. Some people actually like the more methodical approach to tab targeting. For myself, a lot of us, I think a lot of the people that play WildStar have come from a slight Twitch shooter background or an action-packed gaming background where this kind of combat really appeals to them.
Okay, so real quick, just kind of elaborating on that. Like old school Warcraft raids were still probably some of the hardest I've ever done. Like Sunwell, Illidan was semi-hard, but killed Jaden and Yogg-Saron Zero. Those are probably two of the hardest fights to date in MMO history. Like, the amount of coordination that you needed and the amount of skill that you needed to do that just in tab targeting alone, that was ridiculous. And then you, what are you doing? I don't...
Indigo. I don't mean to sidetrack you, Baz. Indigo. File it. Continue.
Oh my god, dude.
Indigo
Jones. You stupid, sappy little
File it.
goober.
You know what you did.
Worst plug ever.
Anyway, because it derailed us.
It did. Anyway, so if you take that and put WildStar combat kind of in the mix and tone it down just a little bit, that's pretty much what you get with WildStar. So, yeah, I think people are looking for something fresh, looking for something new, and I really think WildStar is the key. I just don't think that we have the player base, at least at the lower levels. Yeah, I mean, you can be like, oh, I get queues at night and I raid all the time. That's great. You have a guild. Imagine someone coming into WildStar going from level 1 to 50 and never seeing a dungeon because there's no queues. And just thinking, how do I get gear? And then realizing, oh my gosh, there's people here at level 50. So, yeah. I think that free-to-play is going to be really good for the game. I think that it's, they're starting to step in the right direction. But I feel that we need a lot more change to happen before anything does come about.
It feels like there's going to be a nice hefty change for it happening. So
yeah,
I know. Actually, you had a comment the other day. We were chatting with everybody, some people that we talked to, and you had a moment where you popped in and went, ... I got nothing. And we're like, what do you mean? Like, are you done? He goes, no, I'm in Starcom right now. I just got a few queues in. I'm not mad anymore. I have nothing to complain about. And if you just, I think someone timestamped it, where the rarity of Bazil isn't complaining. I don't understand what happened. She screenshotted it. So this is the rarity, and I'm keeping it for posterity's sake. So a lot of the issues you have are shared amongst enough people of the community. We wanted to bring you on to kind of get that opinion from someone that came on. And yes, people are like, oh, but I got this and that and this and that for my queues. Your mileage is going to vary. Some people have been getting really short queues.
I mean, he's saying that he never got level 20 queues. I sometimes don't get level 20 queues. Sometimes they happen immediately. Sometimes it's prime time. Sometimes it's not. Like, the cyclical nature of those things makes it really difficult to figure out whether
it needs to be consistent. It needs to be consistent for the
game.
It's
the consistency you're talking about, really.
Right. I mean, like even Guild Wars 2 has Q pops all the time. Even Star Wars has Q pops, and they're a low pop game because that's just their market. But yeah, I think the influx to free to play will be very good for the game. PSA, I'm making a video about it later, so shameless plug for me.
That's one of the things you get for being on. You can plug away as long as you don't do it every minute of the video, which you have not been. So that all having been said, have you been looking into the free to play changes that are going to come, or the changes that are coming after free to play, aside from obviously the payment model changing? Like all the stat changes and stuff like that, the secondary stats changing.
Yeah, I was actually was it last week? You guys were talking to Time Travel in the chat, I believe, and I was like, "Dear God, they're adding more stats. Why? Please no." And then he's like, "No. We're from my understanding, They're replacing some stats with other stats.
Correct.
And all the runes will be, like all the assault power runes and stuff, that'll just be on gear. You won't have to rune for that anymore. So fingers crossed that they can do that right. But the last time they did a stat change, I mean, yeah, the last time they did a stat change, everything went to hell. So we'll see. I mean, the payment model I'm okay with. I prefer it to be, I honestly prefer it to be almost a buy-to-play game, like a $5 entry fee or something. That way we're not getting a bunch of stupid trolls and bots and stuff like that. But, I mean, I can understand why they're going free-to-play because, you know, that's what all MMOs do now, except for World of Warcraft for some reason.
World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, but that because it works for them.
Well, Final Fantasy is a fantastic game in and of itself, but that's another like.
Yeah, that's another another discussion. I've heard nothing but insanity from that game.
It's just like props to that dev team for completely shutting down the game, redoing everything, and revamping it, and it's fantastic. But I mean, the only thing I'm worried about, honestly, I think, is just more bad publicity for the game if they don't do if they don't fix all the major issues in the game currently by free to play and they don't streamline things. I feel that it will just knock the PR down even further. Because let's be honest, if you ask someone about WildStar, they'll be like, "Oh, that game that failed and went free to play." I mean, that's generally the reaction you're going to get from a person that doesn't really know anything about the game. Is they just know that WildStar failed, it's going free to play. I mean, like if you look at it,
it's weird. Every time people think of a transition, they think of it as a failure. And Star Wars, technically it is because one model didn't work, so they went to the other. But these games aren't failures anymore. Terra's the one.
Right. And I think
it's shifting to market demands.
It is, but if you ask someone about Star Wars, they're like, "Oh yeah, that game's pretty cool." You know, they changed a lot of things and whatnot. And they're like, "Oh yeah, Terra's cool." Blah blah blah. But if you look at the perception of WildStar, because it's been so bad for so long, people just automatically think, "Oh well, it must have failed." And I mean, and we don't want that, right? I mean, we don't want. I mean, because I mean, let's be honest. The game is phenomenal. The lore is hilarious. The races are just, you know, cute and quirky. The graphics are something that I've always enjoyed.
It's also hard to compare a game like WildStar and Terra to a game like Final Fantasy and WoW because of the properties.
Yeah,
the properties are really what's driving Final Fantasy and WoW for a lot of people. When you're talking about stuff like Blade and Soul, I mean, Star Wars kind of makes a case. Same with Lord of the Rings. Same with DCUO. But a lot of the more recent ones in the last 5 years, Guild Wars. I mean, Guild Wars is not really an established brand except for outside of MMO.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge
genre. Outside of the MMO genre.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Yeah. So you actually bring up a good point, Doc.
We'll have to split up real quick because that's a discussion that's more than gaming, and we'll have to eventually make a show about this. Haha. But I bug so much, and I do stuff like that.
Oh, by the way, we're going to make 6 new shows off of this one sentence.
We could do a general gaming show that goes into these.
We're going to call one show Show 1, and the second show is going to be called Show 2.
And the third show is going to be Krug's an asshole.
This is why Krug hates this.
I will stab you.
You can't stab me. You have little laser beams. I'm the one with the claws.
What?
You play medic.
Oh! I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have little laser.
The look in your face. Oh my god! I think he might actually kill you, Baz.
And you don't know where I live, so good luck.
That's not true, but okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do have my address.
Yep. Yeah, I do. Don't fuck with me.
So while he's doing that, we're gonna start wrapping it up on our side. Krug, where can we find you typically online?
You can find me. Oh, this is dumb. I forgot to change the little Twitter thing on my my.
That's a sword. I can't take it off because it's nailed to my wall.
Oh,
don't get me, bro.
Well, it's useless. You can't pull out the wall. It's useless.
Baz is a couple centuries behind with that weapon. That's all I'm gonna say. And now he's back, and I didn't say anything while your headphones were off at all.
The gauntlet was dropped, man. He's coming.
Anyways, you can find me at KrugQT on Twitter. At Strange Tales is no longer a thing. All of the Strange Tales news and stuff happens at Q Times, which is the website that hosts our content. Q Times is www.qtimes.com. That's QUEUETIMES.com. And while I'm talking about Q Times, before you move on to the next person, just want to throw this out there. Q Times is looking for content creators. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're interested in writing a web series, or if you're interested in doing video content, or you want to start your own podcast or anything like that, you can get in touch with the Q Times staff at admin, that's ADMIN, at qtimes.com. And we can talk to you about the reimbursement that we do for articles that you send to us, and we can talk to you about the different rules and stuff that we have for all of our content. It's really not that difficult to start doing. None of us knew anything about this kind of stuff before we started doing it. So if it's even slightly interesting to you, go ahead and send us an email. Again, that's admin@qtimes.com, and we can have a chat, see if you're down or if you're not. And if you're not, that's fine. I mean, whatever. But if you're at all interested, just come explore with us, and we'll try to get you involved. So yeah. Next.
Also, fair point. They still have no idea what they're doing. So
well,
that's the point.
If the intro to this video is any proof, I still have no
So,
idea.
by the way, you
I'm
just set
so
that up.
excited.
I want to see it. I want to see that intro.
So I was so excited while we were doing the pre-show. I'm like, Baz, you got to watch the show because I have this really cool video. And
I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you during the post show. Continue with the outro.
Baz, where can we find you?
Oh God.
Right. No, just
Is it .com/thebazil?
you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.
Dutch.
Yeah, funny. Pretty much any social media. Bazil. Just I've pretty much solidified that name everywhere. So
For those of you that don't know how to spell it, because I have some difficulty with it.
Bazeel.
Bazeel. Bazil.
It's not basil.
Basil. Bazelli.
Basil.
Bazelli.
Bazil.
Basilio.
The best part is when someone on like a live stream or something reads my name on Twitter and they cannot say it for the life of them.
Nope.
It's the best feeling in the world. I'm just like,
It's Krug.
Because people couldn't pronounce Hollow Mosh.
People call me Krog sometimes. Like, there are two O's, isn't that ooh?
no, that's the best thing. I am calling you Krog from now on.
Krog.
Krog.
As myself, you can find me on Twitter at DocQT. It's probably the best way to get a hold of me because I do try to answer emails as best I can, but I always forget. Twitter, I'm always on, surprisingly. As for Strange Tales from Outer Space, episode 53, I have with us, no, he's not here this week, Krug.
I am Krug.
My reflex, it failed me. Myself, Doc, and for this week, Bazil.
Woo.
Everybody have fun. We'll catch you later.